Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Lisa Lashendro. I am one of the annuity sales directors here at Insurance Agency Marketing Services. And I have the pleasure of Austin Eller at North American that's joining us today or has joined. He's already on the phone with us. Um, he's going to talk to us a little bit about inherited IRAs. And the purpose of this webinar is to really get you guys the information that you need to have a confident and comfortable conversation with your clients on how to handle those inherited IRAs, whether we're talking prior to the Secure Act of 2020, was it 2020? um, and then what occurs after 2020 and how those rules set, and then how North American really is the sweet spot for those inherited IRAs. We do have quite the audience today. Feel free to jot down any questions in the question box, and as time permits, I'll definitely, or Austin will definitely try to answer those questions. We'd love to have that interaction, so don't hesitate to do that. If we do not get to your question, trust you me, I will be following up with you after, the webinar in the next day or two, and I'll be happy to answer those questions at that time as well. I do see quite a few new names here. So if this is your first webinar with IMES, welcome. I'm excited to get to know you and see how we can help increase your life and annuity business. And then, of course, I see a lot of my agents on here, other agents that are working with other directors. So for you guys, welcome back. Always great to see you as always. Um, with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is going to be a refresher for a lot of the agents that are already partnering with us here at IMES about some of the perks and things that you get with us here and the partnership that you have with us. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. For those of you that are new and this is your first webinar with us, welcome. Jot down any questions that you have and shoot me email, or ask me when I touch base with you, and I'll be happy to take it a little deeper for you to completely get a good handle on what we offer here. So right out of the gate, once you contract with IMES, in the first 6 months, whatever business that you write, and this does include life and annuities, whatever level you get up to, starting at 100,000 all the way up to 1 million, and Steve won't be disappointed for over 1 million, trust me. But anyway, we want to let you know that we are definitely here to be your partner. And so we're going to give you a little something, something back. We're going to help you with your marketing. And so whatever level of production that you have in the first 6 months, you're going to talk to me or your annuity or life director, and we're going to talk about what makes sense for IMES to put back into your business to help you grow your business. And that could be, maybe it's just $750 in cash at the 100,000 level. Maybe you need a website developed. Maybe it's a seminar, or maybe it's a mailing. I don't know. We don't like to just throw a whole bunch of things at you and see what sticks. One of the things that you are going to know about IMES, and that you can already, for those of you already working with us, you can certainly contribute to the value that we bring to the table as far as building your business. So if you ever have any questions on where you're at with the new producer builders, let us know and we can certainly get you up to speed. Next, there's no better compliment, in my opinion, than a referral. So if I'm doing a really good job for you and you have somebody else that's in the industry that could benefit from my services or services here at IMES, please jot them down, let me know. And what we're going to do is Steve is going to write you a check quarterly for any of the life or annuity business that they submit. Now, this isn't going to cut anything off of their commission. You're not taking anything from the person that you referred. This is just a thank you from IMES to you, because without you, we would have never had that introduction. We wouldn't see that business come in. Now, a lot of folks do ask me, what if I want to start my own agency? What if I just want to have downlines? What if I want to do an override situation? Know that IMES is very flexible, and we can literally customize however you want your agency and your business built, and then our contracting and accounting department can accommodate those as well. Back office support. This is the one thing, especially with how busy everything is getting, that we do pride ourselves in. Not a lot of folks leave IMS, but when they do, it's not long before they come back. And I'm not trying to, be arrogant here, but I mean, I see it happen all the time in the last several years. Um, and it's because of our service. It's because they're not getting that kind of service from a lot of our competitors. They're not getting that family feel, that personalized attention. We do literally A to Z for you. So all the back office support, we're going to take care of for you, because what we want you to do is we want you to do what you do best, and that's be in front of people. We want you talking to people. We want you building relationships. And you can't do that when you're having to do case design, or a new life quotes, or maybe it's taking care of your contracting or whatever. All that back office stuff, let us take care of that for you. So if you have any questions on ways that we can help you with that, don't hesitate to let us know. Next, we have our website as a great resource for you all. You don't have to be contracted in order to access our website. You can get registered without being contracted with us. I mean, that's how friendly we are. Um, I invite you all to, if you haven't already saved www.imsinc.com to your browser as a favorites, please do so. You won't regret it. It's just going to be easy access for you to automatically log in. We've granted you access to Annuity Rate Watch, so you're going to see what the best MIGA rates are on a daily basis, and they'll be current. There's a sales resource library where you can get one-page concepts. I'm going to go ahead and flip to the next page here. There's Firelight. Firelight is one of the best EAP programs out there in the industry, if we can even say that there's the best EAP program. I know that there's some out there that really have probably a sour look on their face, but I will tell you that I would take an EAP over a paper app any day, any day. It does take, a couple times to get used to it, and that's what you have your team at IMS for. I mean, I walked a 92-year-old through it, and he's written about 2 million in applications on Firelight. Now, if I can do that and he can do that, then I guarantee you can too. Give us a shout. Let us know that you need a walkthrough. Want us to hold your hand for the first step or two, and happy to do that, because after you do a couple, you'll never go back. It pulls all the accurate forms. The process time to the carrier is faster. It prevents you from making some, maybe common errors, for forgetting about completing a section of the app or whatever. Austin, I'm going to have you chime in here from a carrier perspective. How do you guys view e-apps versus paper apps? And specifically, North American also has a pre-suitability that I want you to maybe chime in here on.
Absolutely. So us like we absolutely prefer e-applications. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to do one, but it just makes life a lot easier on both ends. And when I say both ends, I mean us here at the carrier, and then you as the agent as well. In terms of NIGOs, or apps that are considered not in good order, you cut errors. You cut them by about a third, or errors in terms of I don't know the percentages, I apologize, but it's close to about 10% of NIGOs occur on an e-application, whereas if you do a paper application, you can take that number times about 3. Another thing that it does is, as soon as you submit that application, one, that you have all the information needed on the application and there won't be any items missing that we need on our end. And then 2, you will have a policy number assigned right away, and it will be expedited through our system. Because when we receive a paper application, whether that be a fax or an email, we have to scan the policies in, then we have to have a reviewer go in, read the information, plug in information in that might not be legible, etc. So it just takes, an extra day, sometimes 2, for a paper application. And then when it comes to the suitability pre-check, that is a awesome process that we have here at North American through only our Firelight e-application system. What you can do is, if you ever have a case where you're, a little on the edge of wondering whether or not the carrier will take the policy, What we will do is you can go onto our website, submit a suitability pre-check application. It's basically a condensed suitability form. No client signatures are needed. That's the important thing to know. There's no client signature information needed. You plug in all of their information in regards to suitability, why this contract would be a good fit for them, and then within 24 to 48 hours, we will come back and tell you whether or not we will take or accept that application. So that's awesome. So you can submit all that information to us, and then once you get a response from us, you will know whether or not we will take that application. And if we do, all of that information that you already plugged in gets auto-populated into the e-application, making everything just a lot smoother. So a
To
lot of great
piggyback
reasons
on,
as to use the e-app.
yeah, absolutely. So on the pre-suit, that's on Firelight as well, right?
Yes, it is. Correct.
Yep.
And it's only
So,
allowed on the Firelight application through us, just FYI.
yep. So you'll go onto your IMS website, you'll get registered on Firelight. I'll give you instructions, step-by-step instructions on how to do that if that's something that you need. Um, and then that pre-suit form is actually in Firelight on our website. We do prefer that you go onto our website and do that so that our new business team can track it for you. Otherwise, it might be a little bit of a delay if you go directly to North Americans. You're welcome to do that too. We'll immediately see it through our system versus have to just transfer it on the back end kind of stuff. But anyway, I want to keep moving along. Thanks for the feedback on that. Again, happy to walk you through it, guys. Next, I want to talk about a little bit of our creative marketing team. Now, a lot of our competitors out there will contract out or use outside vendors for their creative marketing. Well, we have these guys on our payroll. So I could easily transfer you to one of our guys about maybe a website development and you could talk to them about that. We have literally guys that can do A to Z, whether it's a logo design, maybe it's social media, maybe it's newsletters, whatever. So if you have any questions on that, just let us know. Just want to make sure you are aware we have that available. Next, I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll on this while I talk about IMS Wealth Management. IMS Wealth Management, I love them for two reasons. One, if you are a registered rep already or interested in being a registered rep and doing things on the market side of things and are frustrated because you have all that back office stuff to do, you got to worry about compliance, your website. I mean, need I say more? If I've been in your shoes, I was a registered rep once myself, and it is literally a pain. IMS Wealth Management takes care of all that stuff for you. They're very, very competitive when it comes to um, what their costs are. I've never heard anybody make a bad choice in going over to IMS Wealth Management, working with Duncan Smith. Um, they're literally going to do A to Z for you. They'll help you with all the applications. They'll help you with the casework. They'll help you with, details on the clients. Keep your website up to date. I mean, all you have to do is bring the client in, talk to, Duncan or somebody over there, and they take care of the rest for you. So, um, I would definitely encourage you to select yes. Duncan will reach out to you if you are interested in it. If you're interested in getting your license, Duncan can also help you with that too. So if that's something that's been kind of on your back burner that you want to knock out, select yes here on the poll. Now, the other side of IMS Wealth Management that I adore is back when I was an agent and prior to getting my securities license, I had to bring somebody in on the sale to help those clients that need to be in the market. And that meant that they got a cut on my fixed products as well. Well, that's no fun. I didn't need their help on that part, but that's just the way the ball bounces. Well, with IMS Wealth Management, you can talk to Zach Rieg, and he will help you with those sales. If you ever decide to get if you ever decide to get your securities license, Zach is going to transfer those right back to you. I don't know any partner out there. I don't even, whether it's a cousin or a friend, they're not going to transfer those clients back to you. They're going to keep them forever. Well, IMS Wealth Management has that partnership. So we just want to make sure that we have all the resources for you to take care of your clients and keep them safe in your own backyard. I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. I appreciate everybody contributing to that. Keep moving. Another thing that we have here at IMES is we want to show, and this is outdated. We should take this double trip credit off. Sorry about that. But we have our top producer qualifications. It takes 4.5 million points to qualify for our next top producer trip in Kiowa Island, South Carolina. I hear they're pulling out all the stops on this one. There's a lot of celebrities that own homes out there that you'll probably bump into. I mean, it's a golfer's dream, I believe. But if you're not a golfer, there's a lot of other beautiful things, spas and shopping and things like that that you could do. So yeah, if you have any questions on where you're at with your qualification, you do have until the end of this year. So a couple large cases with North American, not too hard to get there. So if you have any additional questions on our next top producer trip, just holler. And with that, I am going to pass it on to Austin. We are a marketing organization. Obviously, we're going to have Facebook and LinkedIn. So if you haven't already joined us there, here are the links to do so. And Austin, are you ready for me to hand it over to you?
I sure am. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, buddy, there you go.
Awesome. Bear with me 1 second here. Alrighty. Are you able to see my screen?
I see you clearly and hear you loudly.
Awesome. Well, perfect. Well, first off, I'll introduce myself. Thank you all for taking the time out of your day here to stop by here. A little bit of North American. Really, what I'm going to focus on is inherited IRAs and the products that we will allow inherited IRAs and or actually non-qualified stretches in here at North American. So there's two products that we're going to allow those with, when it comes to inherited IRAs, and there will be certain instances in which we'll allow one over the other. But first, I want to introduce myself. My name is Austin Eller. I'm the sales vice president with North American that works directly with IMES. So I'm on the phone with Lisa at least once per week, a lot of the times more often than that. So she's been great to work with, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate the partnership with her, IMES, and just all of you taking the time out of your day to hear what I have to share. First, I just really want to talk about North American, who we are. We're a very strong company, right? We're A+ rated across the board, A+ rated by AM Best, S&P, and Fitch. When it comes to ratings, right, it's just something that's very important. You can show this to your clients. They're going to feel they're going to feel strongly about putting their money with a company who has strong financials. We've been around for 130 plus years. Two things I want to put a point here on this screen. At the top right, you'll see a little gold box. What that is, we were actually presented an award by AM Best. We have been A-rated by A-rated by AM Best for 50 years now. So that's not something that we take lightly. 50 years is a very long time to have an A rating. So it just shows how long we've been financially strong. And then at the bottom right, you'll see next to our logo, North American, we have an oak tree leaf. Reason I always point that out is because when you think of an oak tree, right, you think of a tree that's big, strong, has been around for 100 plus years, and should hopefully be around for another 100 plus years. And that's exactly what I want you to think of us here at North American. A big, strong company. We've been around for 100 plus years, and we should still be standing very strong here in another 100 years. So that's just a couple things that I wanted to point out really before here I got into the bulk of my presentation materials. So when it comes to inherited IRAs and non-qualified stretches, there are certain products that we will allow. I'm really going to focus on inherited IRAs more so than non-qualified stretches, but just know that if you need either an inherited IRA or a non-qualified stretch, think North American, come to us and we can tell you, come to Lisa too, we can all tell you which products will allow those in, and we actually have a flyer built directly for it that will show you in what instances will allow X product versus the other. When you're looking at products available post Secure Act, so post January 1st of 2020, so you'll see the top half of this screen, for inherited IRAs, we will allow the Performance Choice 8. For non-qualified stretches, we're actually going to allow either our Performance Choice 8 or our Versa Choice 10. Now, I only focused on the Post Secure Act screen here because 99 or 95% of the time, that's what we're dealing with. 95% of the time, we're dealing with a client who had just recently passed away and they want to take that money and put it into an inherited IRA. Well, let's say you already have an inherited IRA that's been set up for years. Let's say it was an inherited IRA that was set up for 5, 6, 7 years now. Essentially, it started before the Secure Act happened in 2020. That does actually expand the type or expand the products that we will allow you to set up an inherited IRA with us. So if you ever have one of those instances, reach out. We will definitely be able to provide you with what products are available. It's going to be the Performance Choice 8, Versa Choice 10, and several others. But like I said, 95% of the time, we're dealing with clients who had just recently passed away after the Secure Act and are now needing to set up an inherited IRA with the new 10-year rules. And when I say the new 10-year rules, what I mean by that is now with the new rules on the inherited IRAs, the account needs to be exhausted within 10 years of opening that inherited IRA. So if I open an inherited IRA here today, let's call it for $100,000. I, inherited money from my parents, set up it as an inherited IRA today. That $100,000 would need to be fully exhausted and dwindled down to zero by the end of the 10th contract year. And that's why you'll see here for Post Secure Act inherited IRAs, the only product we will allow for that is the Performance Choice 8. Reason being is because it is a term that is less than 10 years. So with that being said, I really just wanted to go briefly over the two products, the Performance Choice 8 and the Versa Choice 10 here, and what they will provide for your clients in those scenarios. Now, what's great about both of these products is outside of just inherited IRAs, we get a ton of premium in both of these as well, just for pure individual contracts, whether it be qualified or non-qualified monies. So first I'll hit on the Performance Choice 8. When it comes to inherited IRAs, this 95% of the time is being the product that's chosen because 95% of the time it's the only product that we'll have available for that inherited IRA option. So the Performance Choice 8 product, I'll give you the specs here, really quick and easy. It can be issued from ages 0 through age 75, or through age 85, I'm sorry. It is a flexible premium product. Now, when it comes to inherited IRAs, that won't necessarily apply. But if you have just any particular product or any particular client you want to set up a product with, and you're looking for a flexible premium product, this is a great option for you. It has a $20,000 minimum with an 8-year surrender charge schedule. Now, I like to break this product down into 3 different categories, and I think you can do this with any pure accumulation product in the industry. And these 3 categories are bonus, performance, and liquidity. So when it comes to bonus, there is no premium bonus on this product. And you may wonder why I'd highlight that. Reason being is I highlight that because even though we don't have a premium bonus on it, we take the pricing that we could have put towards a premium bonus and we put it into other aspects of the contract like the performance and the liquidity. So for performance, we're going to have indexing options available through a Morgan Stanley, Fidelity, S&P indexes. So you have a strong, wide variety of indexing options that we'll touch on here on the next slide. 15 indexing options are available. 13 of them are uncapped, with 4 of them being volatility-controlled indexes that we'll touch on here on the next page. And then for liquidity, you have 10% penalty-free withdrawals starting in year 2. So when it comes to this product, think bonus, performance, liquidity. No bonus. For performance, you're going to have a ton of different indexing options to choose from with strong returns or historical returns and participation rates, and then 10% free withdrawals starting right away in year 2. Now, because there's no bonus on this product, right? Really all it comes down to is what can I expect out of each and every one of the indexing options that I have available? What's their historical performance? What are my options? And then what's liquidity? So really beyond the specs of this contract, this is the main thing that you want to focus on. And I love this sheet, but I'll explain here what you're looking at because you're looking at a bunch of different things. So on this left-hand side, right, this column over here, what you're seeing is all of the different indexing options that we have. So we're going to have options, right here, we're going to have the fixed account. We're going to have an annual point-to-point with the index cap rate on the S&P 500, so on and so forth. Then what you're going to see in the next column, so this column here where it says declared rates, that is going to be the declared rate for each and every one of our indexing options. So you'll see here for the fixed account, you go over here, we have a 4.2 fixed account for the first year. Monthly point to point, we have a 2.85 monthly point to point, so on and so forth. Then you'll start getting down here to where you see participation rates rather than cap rates or margins, etc., on these indexing options. So for example, those indexes that I had talked about, the Morgan Stanley, the Fidelity, and the S&P, you'll see those right here. Morgan Stanley, Fidelity, and S&P. All of those have instead participation rates. And those participation rates, they vary. I'm going to start circling some. They vary all the way from 160% all the way down here to the bottom to 270%. Now, these options here at the bottom, I'm going to focus on them towards the end because they do work slightly different. A lot of you will be familiar with these options and how they work, but I'll take a brief minute to kind of talk about the options towards the bottom. Now, what you do is you come over here to the right, and we're going to show you the historical returns based on the last 10 years, the highest ever 10 years, and the lowest ever 10 years. So the great part about this is you can look at these numbers and you can say, okay, I really like this Fidelity 2-year point to point, whether it be because of the name Fidelity, right? Maybe you're moving a client from a Fidelity 401k, and it's kind of an easy talking point. You have your money inside of Fidelity right now with your 401k. Let's look at moving into this annuity here, where we can move it into a Fidelity index, similar name, kind of keeps that consistency with the client, maybe a little bit of an easier move. And oh, by the way, has a great participation rate of 215%. And when we look at the historical returns, you're seeing very good numbers. 8.57% over the last 10 years. The highest ever 10 years is 13.72%. So I just really love this page, and I call it my dartboard jokingly, right? Because I say I love to diversify between indexing options. I don't necessarily love when people choose just one indexing option and banking on that one being the best moving forward. I like choosing 2, 3, maybe 4 different indexing options. And the reason I call this my dartboard is because I jokingly say, take 3 darts, throw it at this page, and you're going to find 3 different indexing options that you can choose when going into your contract. I don't actually mean, just randomly throw it at the dartboard here and pick those 3 options. I mean, find 2 or 3 different options that you like, whether it be because of the name of the index or the historical returns of the index. Right now, the Morgan Stanley and then the Fidelity multi-factor, those are our 2 most popular options. We're also seeing a lot of money come in from the annual point-to-point here at the top on the S&P 500 with a 9.5% cap rate. Or what we're actually seeing a lot of people do too, and this is all based on your or maybe the client's opinion on the market and what it's going to do over the next year, is we're seeing some people actually put money into the fixed account and just saying, let's guarantee 4.2% over the next year, just in case the market goes haywire and continues to trend downward. And then at the end of the first year, what we'll do is then we'll take that money that's in the fixed account and we'll allocate it towards one of these options here in the bottom, whichever one we want to move to.
That is a
Now,
really popular strategy that I'm seeing a lot of agents go to, and even bringing that subject up to a lot of folks, or even just putting it in, put a mixture of into that fixed account at 4.2, which is a nice guaranteed rate, and then do the remainder in a 2-year, like Austin was saying. A lot of, it's kind of depending on the client's view on what they think the market is going to do. But a lot of them are thinking that it's going to bump right back up. So if you have a 2-year index, why everybody else might be lowering their rates once the market pops back up, you're still locked into this 215% par. So that's pretty nice. A nice strategy to maybe keep in your back pocket. I just want to put my two cents into there, Austin. And then we do have a couple questions in the box regarding inherited IRAs whenever you're ready for a stopping point.
Honestly, what I'll do here is I'll finish out these indexes here at the bottom. I'm going to draw a line here on the side, and anything below that I'm going to touch on here real quick. I'll just finish this page. It'll take me another minute, and then I'll answer those questions because after this page, I'm actually done with the Performance Choice 8. I was going to go over the Versa Choice real quick. So
Okay.
that's a perfect stopping point to answer those questions here. So towards the bottom, what you'll see, I had drawn that red line here on the left-hand side of my page. Anything that falls right within this little bracket that I am drawing, you'll see that these indexes now have what we call an enhanced participation rate. Well, you're going to wonder what I mean by that. A lot of them will call them fee for rate strategies. We technically call them enhanced participation rate strategies. What that means is if you go over here to the right hand side or to the declared rates column, you'll see that you do actually pay a 95 basis points fee on each of these 1 or 2 year options to get you greater participation rates. So the participation rates are higher on these options for the Fidelity or Morgan Stanley than what you'll see on the options above on a 1 year or 2 year point to point. So one of the first questions I always get is that fee worth it, right? Technically speaking, historically, yes, the fees are worth it, right? Even net of fee, a lot of the times, these fee for rate or enhanced participation rate strategies work out better for the client in the long run. Another thing to keep in mind too is you can kind of water down that fee, I guess you could say, by putting, let's say, 50% into this option right here. And then let's say you wanted to go to the no fee option on the Fidelity up here. So then you put the other fee option in the no fee Fidelity with a 170% participation rate. What does that do? Well, that means that you only pay the fee on the 50% allocated towards the fee for rate strategy. And then lastly, I always say, look, if you don't want to pay a fee, by all means, you can stay out of the options with an indexing or with a fee. Choose any of the no fee options that you like. And if 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years down the road you change your mind, you can reallocate towards these upon anniversary. If 5 years down the road you see, hey, these are actually doing pretty dang well. That fee, even though you're paying it, it's paying off for more than itself. You can, by all means, that upon anniversary change to those. So, Lisa, with that being said, that kind of brings me to a great stopping point for inherited IRAs. Really, what I want to let you guys know is this is the bulk of the product, right? It's a product built for pure growth and accumulation. 10% free withdrawals starting right away, or starting in year 2, I'm sorry. And beyond that, there's no real added bells or whistles. And when you think inherited IRA, think Performance Choice 8 with North American Annuity. But I can answer those
Absolutely.
questions here now.
All right. So first off, and I get a lot of these questions, and I'm gonna Austin's probably better at answering them than I am because I twist up my words. But um, so a lot of times, you have the spousal continuation and some of those, so that the Secure Act and some of those rules don't apply with spouses or spousal
Mm-hmm.
continuation. So the question is, a spousal continuance IRA will allow for all the product suites with this with North American, right? So we could do first of choice or whatnot. I think if we could clarify how that the difference between a spousal and non-spousal and which
Yep.
product you're going to want to lean to, I think that's what we're
Yep.
looking for.
Absolutely. Sorry, I should have kind of clarified. Anytime that I refer to inherited IRA, I technically mean a non-spousal inherited IRA. Um, because if you're a spouse and you're assuming an IRA from, deceased husband or wife, unfortunately, if you are the spouse, you can technically do what they call, you can assume that IRA into your own name, whether it be at that company, or you could move it into a contract here with us. And if it is a spousal assumption, is what you could technically call it, you could move it into any product of ours, because then that contract is not necessarily set up as an inherited IRA status. It's technically just set up as an IRA status only. Just now, all of a sudden, it's in the spouse's name. So that is the main difference to keep in mind. If it is a spouse assuming an IRA, technically they can move it into any contract they want, any product they want with us. You won't really necessarily have any inherited IRA rules with that, especially the new 10-year rule. But when it comes to non-spousal inherited IRAs, that's what I'm referring to when I mean the Performance Choice 8 is really the only product that we'll have available and one of the few out in the industry.
Right. So if you're gonna do a spousal continuation, and you decide that that product might not be the best fit because it was designed for the, your spouse and you to do something else. Well, now they're unfortunately passed away. So you have different goals in mind. You can assume that policy or have the spouse assume that policy. And then at that time, you would complete like a typical transfer form, and you can move it to the Versa Choice, or maybe it's an income um, product with North American, whatnot. So, any other tips or tricks to that, Austin, before I move over to the next question?
No, one thing, one thing that I always try to tell people is, let's say that you're dealing with a client where he or she has um, their spouse had passed away, and you're looking at options with that spouse's IRA and what you're going to do with it. If you want to move that money to a new company, I always say there's several terms for it, but do an on the fly assumption, right? Because let's say if you have that spouse assume that policy at the prior carrier first and leave it there for a month or two, and then if you want to move it to a new carrier, then all of a sudden you have to do replacement forms, comparison forms, etc. But at least with us here, if you move it technically on the fly, so you fill out the death claim paperwork at the other company and say you're transferring it into an IRA at North American, transfer forms will follow. If you do it on the fly, technically with us, you will not have to do a replacement or comparison forms, because technically that spouse had never fully assumed that contract at the other company yet. They are assuming that money actually with North American rather than the previous company, if that makes sense. Just a little bit of a tidbit or help when
Yeah.
it comes to that, because sometimes that eliminates some paperwork that you guys have to do with us. I don't know technically how other companies would work, but
hmm
with us, if you do it in that instance where you do it on the fly, you would not need replacement forms with us.
If there's any question at all, just call your director or someone in new business and we can clarify what needs to be done in that particular situation. So we're here for you on that. Next question, Austin. Does North American have products for 72T or 72Q cases?
Yes, we do. We allow 72T on pretty much all products. That I apologize. We do. I'd have to do a little bit more research. I'm not as much of an expert as I should be on the 72T or 72Q. We don't get a ton, but we will definitely allow those. That will be more so if you have some of those, come to Lisa, myself, whoever it may be here at North American, and we'll make sure you get the right information. Just off the top of my head, I don't want to be blindly throwing out statements that, give you an incorrect product or something like
hmm
that. I apologize. But I know when it comes to 72Ts and 72Qs, I've dealt with both instances and we'll allow it. I'm just not sure if we're technically confined to a certain set of products. I truly think you can use any of our products, but I don't want to go out there and say that
Right.
was
I'm
100%
trying to think
confidence.
about, we do use North American quite a bit for those cases, and I'm trying to remember what we put them in. So yeah, if you have additional questions or you have a case like that coming up, just give us a call and we'll walk you through it. Next question, inherited IRAs. Let's see. Inherited IRAs, the same. So the question is, I assume are inherited IRAs the same as beneficiary IRA?
Yep. A lot of people kind of use them interchangeably, I guess you could say. The key word is IRA in that instance, right? Because someone is inheriting an actual IRA from another individual, or technically a non-spouse in this instance that I'm usually referring to. A lot of people will actually call them a beneficiary IRA as well. So those words can kind of be used interchangeably.
Yep. Says thank you. Next question. If a spouse inherited an IRA from his brother and then that spouse passes, does the remaining spouse get the 10-year rule?
Okay, so I'm gonna lay this out. I think this is how I am interpreting that question. So let's say you have me and my wife here, right? But I assume a contract from my brother.
Hmm.
I would be able to set that contract up as an inherited IRA with in my name. Now it would have to be set up as an inherited IRA because I'm obviously not my brother's spouse, right? I'd be a non-spousal in that situation. I could set it up as an inherited IRA. The account would have to be exhausted within the next 10 years. But if I passed away during that 10-year period, it's my assumption that there would be no other person that could technically set up what they call a second generation inherited IRA. Now I could be wrong, and the reason I don't want to be blankly throwing out statements is because the Secure Act with these new rules, they haven't been very clear on a lot of things. Essentially, what they originally said, for example, they originally came out and said all you need to do is exhaust the account within 10 years. We don't care if you do it, and if you take out money in years 2 through 10, 5 through 10, 1 through 10, we don't care how you do it. Originally, that's kind of how they said it would work. And now what they're doing is they're backtracking their steps and stating, well, actually, you do need to take out RMDs for the full 10 years. I don't think in that instance my spouse would be able to technically then take over that policy and continue out the 10 years. But that I could be wrong. Once you get into those odd nuances, and I'll be honest, there won't be really many people here internally at North American that can answer you those. We like to refer you guys to if you have any tax professionals that you work with in those instances,
Hmm.
just to make sure with these new secure acts and there's stuff constantly changing and nuances to them. But I think from how I understand it, if I inherited one from my brother, the 10-year rule would apply to me. But then if I passed away during those 10 years, I don't think my spouse could continue that IRA because technically it's in an inherited IRA status. They would just have to take the remaining amount of money in that contract as a lump sum, I think.
Yeah, there's a
Sorry, I know
lot
it's
of
not a perfect answer,
no,
but
it's there's a lot of things, and that's one thing that we always recommend that you do work with a tax expert so that you're not liable for any tax consequences that might occur as well. So it's to protect you as well. Another question here is if someone inherits that IRA, we do that um, non-spousal inherited IRA with a performance choice 8. And they are 59 or they are under 59 and a half. Would that 10% penalty apply?
nope. In an inherited IRA, because of the rules that force you to distribute money over the 10-year period, there would be no pre 59 and a half withdrawal penalty because according to the rules now, the IRS is forcing that new beneficiary with the
Mhm.
inherited IRA to distribute the account or extinguish the account within 10 years. There would be no pre 59 and a half withdrawal rules. So
Right. And then hopefully, I think we answered this last question already in regards to the RMDs. But if your surviving spouse inherited the IRA is over 72, does the 10-year rule apply? The deceased spouse died prior to RMD requirements.
So the deceased spouse died prior to RMD requirements, right? So if it's a spouse in this instance, essentially what you're going to do more than likely is you're just going to have the spouse assume the contract.
Hmm.
And the rules, I'd honestly have to go to IRS.com, IRS.gov right now to check them again. But if the previous spouse had not begun, oh, no. So if you're a spouse and you're just assuming your spouse's contract, so essentially now you're just setting it up in your own name. Now you, as the spouse who just assumed that contract, it's not technically in an inherited IRA status because as we talked about earlier, if you're a spouse, you're not going to set it up as an inherited IRA. You're just going to assume it into your own IRA. The RMD rules now apply to you based off of your age. So if I'm 71 years old and I pass away and my wife, who's 70, assumes my contract, now all of a sudden that IRA is just set up in her name, and then she'd have to begin taking RMDs at age 73 according to the new rules, where it begins at age 73 now.
Yep. And then other questions, like who does those contribution amounts and things like that. I can we can talk about this all day, and I just for For the time that we have left here, I will get back to you guys on an individual basis and we can have a deeper conversation. But I want to make sure that Austin does cover their VersaChoice, which is a very nice product. It provides, the protection for the what ifs, I like to call it. So, Austin, do you want to move forward with that while we have some time here? And
Yeah,
apologize, we
and
can't
it'll
get to
be
all the questions, but if there's time left over, then we can get back to these.
and it'll be pretty quick because the Versa Choice is actually very, very similar to the Performance Choice 8. It's just in a 10-year contract instead. One thing I do want to mention too, guys, just with everything that I kind of talked about here with taxes and all that, with the inherited IRAs, RMDs, etc. A lot of it's just based on research that I've done by going to irs.gov. So I don't think I misspoke with anything, but anytime you're dealing with those, I just always, recommend, hey, if there's a tax professional, because it's not something that I specialize in, even though we allow it into our products. We don't specialize in taxes, et cetera, RMDs, all that stuff. So just always recommend a tax professional unless you're very familiar with those situations, nuances, et cetera. But when it comes to the Versa Choice 10, this is going to be a very, very similar product to the Performance Choice 8. So if you're ever looking for a 10-year product built for pure growth and accumulation, this is one that's great. It's been $1 billion product of ours for years. It's been our number one seller for years. And like I said, I'll go through it quick because you're going to see very, very similar nuances to it. The 10-year surrender charge schedule, issue ages 0 through 79, modified single premium with $20,000 as the minimum. So modified means you can only add money to it within the first contract year only. Now, as I talked about this earlier, I break this down into 3 same categories: bonus, performance, liquidity. So you're going to see there's no bonus on this product. In terms of performance, we're actually going to have every single one of the same indexing options you saw in the Performance Choice 8, but instead you'll see them here now on the Versa Choice 10, just with higher participation rates, etc. Only real difference is that we have a 10% annual penalty-free withdrawal available in year 1, and then an optional liquidity rider that I'll touch here on the end. So as I mentioned, there's no bonus. This is going to work similar to the Performance Choice 8. What you're going to see here is all of the same exact options. Whoops, sorry, that's a horrible bracket. Under this bracket here on the right hand or on the left hand side, I'm going to stop drawing because it's just not working out for me. I apologize. Everything down this column is those same indexing options that you'd seen on the Performance Choice 8. Only difference you'll notice is that we have a high band and a low band here. So anything $75,000 and above, you're actually going to get a higher participation rate, cap rate, etc., than what you would on the low band. So I always just stick to the high band to keep it simple. 4.25 fixed account, 10% cap rate. Then you get down here into the participation rates of 175%, all the way up to 275% on those fee for rate strategies. So what you'll notice is this is a 10-year product, so the high band on this contract is going to give you far greater participation rates, or not far greater, I'm sorry, higher participation rates, therefore leading to, over on the right-hand side, higher rates of return on all of these indexing options, right? This is our number one selling product. Many people use it as just a standard duration product, 10 years, built for pure growth and accumulation, kind of used as that safety net within a client's portfolio. But another huge reason why people put this on, beyond just the fact that it has great indexing options to choose from, is what we call our enhanced liquidity benefit rider. Now, one thing I want to let you know is that this is optional. You'll see at the top left-hand side of this page, you'll see that this is optional. So you do not have to put it on. Right now, it's actually put on about 35 to 40% of the Versa Choice contracts that we get. What does it give you, though? And I cannot stress this enough. It gives you all 4 of these benefits below. All 4 come with the optional rider. You do not have to pick and choose which one you'd want to choose between. So I'm going to go through each and every one of these scenarios here. The first top left is the enhanced penalty-free withdrawals. What do I mean by that? Well, I had mentioned that on this contract, you get 10% free withdrawals starting right away in year 1. But if in any given year you don't want to take out a free withdrawal or you don't need a free withdrawal, the next year it will actually stack up to 20%. So it will double to 20%. So for example, if in year 1 I take out 0%, In year two, I will actually have up to 20% available in free withdrawals that I could take out of my account value. Now, it does stop at 20%. 20% is the maximum, and it's an all or nothing thing. So if in 1 year I take out 15% because I had 20% available, the next year I will go back to that original 10%. The second one is the return of premium. This is one of the main reasons why some people put it on. It's a selling point for some people. It's basically a peace of mind thing. After the third contract year, if at any point in time, for whatever reason, you want to get out of the contract, at the very minimum, you are getting the premium that you put in. So if you put in 100,000 at the end of the third contract year, the worst case scenario, you are walking away with $100,000. Now, one thing I want to keep in mind is I'll circle or I'll underline it here strongly. It's a return of premium, not a return of premium plus interest. So that would work out for you if you put in $100,000 and 2 out of your 3 years you have very poor growth. And let's say your $100,000 has now become $103,000. Well, in many instances, after the third contract year with surrender charges, that client might only get $92,000, $93,000 back. But in this instance, we'd give you the $100,000 that you had put in. Now, the main reason why this is put on, and I'm going to circle both because they kind of work together, is the ADL-based surrender charge waiver and the ADL-based payout benefit. Why do they work together? Well, if at any given time, if the client cannot perform 2 of 6 ADLs, they can essentially choose either one of these options to choose from. The first one on the left-hand side is the ADL-based surrender charged waiver here. So this one right here on the left-hand side. If at any given time I cannot perform 2 of 6 ADLs, I can just walk away with my full account value. If it's grown from $100,000 to $120,000, I walk away with that full $120,000, no surrender charges whatsoever. So it's essentially just a full walk away of your account value at that point in time that you cannot perform 2 of 6 ADLs. Also, we have an ADL-based benefit payout. Now, what this is it's an enhanced payout, so you get more money than what's in your account value. You just have to take it out over a 5-year period. So let's assume I have $100,000 in contract year 5 on the dot. I have $100,000 in contract year 5 on the dot, and now all of a sudden I cannot perform 2 of 6 ADLs, and I added this rider. I could either on the left-hand side walk away with 100% of my money or $100,000, or on the right-hand side, what you'll see here is towards the bottom we have an account value multiplier. And in this instance, I was in year 5. So the multiplier for year 5 is 120%. So we take my account value times 120%. 100 times 100 or 100,000 times 120% is $120,000. Now all of a sudden I just get $120,000, but I have to take it out over a 5-year period. If I do pass away during that 5-year period, the remaining payments just go to my beneficiary, just as an FYI. One thing that I didn't mention is you'll see here towards the bottom, I'm going to circle it. I don't know if you'll see it. This fee is 60 basis points annually if you do add this rider. But if you add this rider, all 4 of these benefits get given to the client. Main reason why it's put on, though, are these 2 ADL-based benefit payouts. People are worried about health within retirement, but they don't necessarily know if they're going to go in a nursing home. So this is great because if I cannot perform 2 of 6 ADLs, but I'm getting in-home care instead of nursing home care, we don't care. The only thing that we look at is whether or not the client cannot perform 2 of 6 ADLs.
And you don't put them through
That's
the
all.
ringer either. They just need a physician
Right.
statement saying, yep, this patient of mine can't perform 2 of the 6 ADLs. You send that into North American, and there's no other review.
Right.
There is a question on the EBL writer, what the weight
Yep.
is before
Uh-huh.
you can utilize that ADL enhancement benefit.
So, sorry here. The one on the left-hand side, so the ADL-based surrender charge waiver, there is no weight for this one. No weight. So if I start it, as long as I can perform all 6 ADLs at the time of issue, there's technically no weight. If 6 months in, if I cannot perform 2 of 6, you can get your full money back. For this one here on the right, you'll see years 1 and 2, it says not applicable. So you'd have to choose the lump sum. But then for the 5-year payout starting in years 3 plus, you can take the 5-year payout.
Perfect.
And then really quick, if you don't mind, it'll take me 20 seconds. Just one thing to keep in mind with North American, we have an EPC program here, 3 levels of production at 2 million in FIA, 4 million in FIA, and 8 million of FIA. You can get added levels of compensation at 50 basis points, 1% or 1.5%, I'm sorry, at each and every one of those levels. And it's all retroactive back to $1. So if I hit $2 million, we then pay you that extra 50 basis points back to $1 on your money. Just a great program that we have here at North American that many people take advantage of, whether that be helping with seminar costs, workshop costs, whatever it may be. That's just an added level of money that you can get to add to your business to help obviously expand and grow.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, talking about, North American, another thing that I love about them is on their website, they have such great materials. They've got a ton of material on stretch and non-stretch IRAs, inherited IRAs, product, client-friendly brochures, and it might, as well as brochures just on concepts that aren't even specific to a product. So if you ever are looking for something, I send out North American um, uh, product brochures and concept brochures all the time. My agents really appreciate that. You guys do an amazing job on making those look gorgeous and easy for the clients to understand. With that, I think we're about out of time. So I do see that we have a couple other questions, but I'll definitely give you individuals a call here if you need to get set up with Austin or want to do another call, conference call with Austin, he's happy to do that. I am kind of curious. I'm going to do a couple polls here. I'm curious as to who on this call is already utilizing North American as one of your top annuity carriers. So if you wouldn't mind answering that, that always gives me a good idea of, you know, who's already utilizing them. Maybe there's something else that we can do to help you along the way for North American there. So starting to see quite a few folks here answering yes, Austin, that they're already working with
That's
you.
what we like to hear. We appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Yep. I'm going to go ahead and close that. I appreciate you guys answering that. Just helps me in my curiosity. And then the last poll here I'm launching is if you aren't working and you need to get contracted with North American, definitely select yes here, and I'll be sure to get that contracting over to you. If you have a client in mind that has an inherited IRA or maybe just interested in that Versa choice with that EBL or another product that North American has and you need to see that illustration or product info, select yes here. And then if you want to receive any other additional information, have a conference call with myself or Austin or both, select here and we'll make sure that we get you taken care of. With that, I don't have anything else, Austin. We are 2 minutes early. Way to go, bud.
Hey, we just made it. I appreciate it, everyone. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, we had a great turnout here today. I know inherited IRAs can be kind of confusing and certainly don't expect you to get it all in one webinar. We do record these webinars, so I will be sending out some lovely North American client-friendly brochures for you to talk to your clients about this. Also, some product information on the performance choice as well as the Versa choice. And then if there's anything else that you guys need besides the recorded webinar and that, you just let me know. With that, I'm going to thank you all again for giving us your time this morning or maybe early afternoon for some. And hope you have a great rest of the week. Let us know if there's anything that we can all do here for you at IAMS. Have a great day. Thanks, Austin, as always. Appreciate your partnership. You're one of the best. And we'll talk to y'all soon.
Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.